Hello,
Everybody,
everyone.
welcome to episode 17 of the Resistance Rundown.
That's right.
Our weekly Star Wars show where we discuss everything in our favorite galaxy. I was trying to make sure everything is going, how it is, trying to run everything off of one device.
Technology is really exciting, guys.
That's right. So, as always, we always start out with our movie headlines.
Always with The Last Jedi.
No surprise what we're talking about.
Yeah. When are we ever going to stop talking about The Last Jedi? Never. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Well, I don't really know. I feel like we're going to be talking about it for a while
probably
still.
for a while still.
Yeah, okay. Well, our first story is that according to Rotten Tomatoes, The Last Jedi is the best reviewed science fiction movie of 2017. While the audience score has been a matter of contention since its release, it's managed to place critically ahead of Matt Reeves' War for the Planet of the Apes and Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049. So, are you a little surprised to hear that?
I'm not that surprised. I think other people may be surprised. Just because I feel like the divisiveness is, I think cooled off a little bit. But there could be some debate as to how much it's interfered with the box office results and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it still made a lot of money, which we're going to get to, but obviously not as much as The Force Awakens.
Well, to be fair, nothing was going to make as much money as The Force Awakens.
No.
Just because first time in however many years, never thought we were going to have another Star Wars film, and then surprise, J.J. Abrams gives us Force Awakens. So,
yep, exactly right.
There you have it. Yeah, I did think it was pretty interesting, especially since Blade Runner, it's one of those movies that you kind of think could have gotten nominated for a Best Picture nomination this year. It didn't, but it could have easily. And, so interesting to see that Last Jedi really comes ahead of that.
Yeah.
I agree, personally, but we all know how we feel about Star Wars.
That's true.
So. All right, well, our second story is not really so much of a story as an update on the box office. Newsflash, The Last Jedi keeps on making money.
Who knew?
I know. So it's officially at $1.31 billion worldwide. Still solidly in 6th place domestically is the highest every time, and 9th, I believe, on the worldwide charts. I won't be surprised if it ends up moving up maybe one more spot on each, but we'll see.
Yeah, just kind of depends.
It really depends on that foreign total, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and the
Which
domestic run
is still making more than, obviously, domestic run.
Sure.
That's the thing. All right, our third story is a little more fun. For those who wonder how Rian Johnson came to the conclusion that, spoiler alert, Rey's parents are nobody of significance, he revealed on the Slash Filmcast podcast that he had a huge document that listed a wide range of ideas where literally everything was on the table. The list included everything from Rey being a clone to what he considers to be the silliest idea of all, which was the idea of Rey being a robot. He also commented that pretty much anything that's a theory on Reddit was listed on this document.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Rian Johnson makes me laugh every single time he starts talking about, reasoning behind stuff and... just to let everybody know, like, everything was on the list. Like, her being Luke's daughter, her being
Obi-Wan's cousin.
Or
Palpatine's niece
something. Yeah, like, everything was on the list to the most ridiculous thing. Yeah. Which he was funny after that. He was like, watch the headline tomorrow be, Rey could have been a robot. I was like,
that's usually how the clickbait goes.
That is normally how it goes. But we get it. So just a fun little thing from him. In that same interview, I believe it was, he also described his vision for Episode 8 to Kathleen Kennedy initially as being the training portion of the trilogy. He clarified that by training, he said he meant taking each of these characters and really testing their mettle. Which I think, Jonathan, you had the full quote, don't you, of everything that he said. Yeah. Just after Kathy asked me if I'd be interested in Episode 8, we had a series of conversations, and basically my pitch was the first movie is like the introduction, the second movie is training. In my training, I mean we take each of these characters and really test their mettle. So I said that would be my approach to it. It's a very character-based approach where we just start with each one of these characters we care about and figure out what the hardest next step is for each of them. So having that trailhead to go from, it was also nice because it gives you a direction as opposed to just having a big cloud of childhood fantasies of wouldn't it be cool to see the Falcon do this or that you could get lost in. It wasn't like that. Once I actually started doing the work, I found that it felt really comfortable. And then all the childhood fantasy stuff is just fuel for the fire. So I thought that was really neat just to kind of hear how he originally pitched everything to Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
And it's what he's been saying from the very beginning. Whether you like The Last Jedi or not, you have to admit that you do test every single character to the nth degree. They each have to take the hardest journey. And so Rian Johnson definitely delivered on that part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's what needed to happen. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
All right, well, with that, a lot less Last Jedi headlines than what we used to have. And we are starting to move into the Solo, a Star Wars story. Do we have a trailer yet? No, we don't. I'm sorry. That was probably mean. Probably shouldn't have gotten anyone's hopes up to think, oh, it mysteriously dropped. Jonathan was going to do something worse.
I was really going to play that Rick rolled video. We just got an exclusive. But I didn't want to get a hate mail, so.
Yeah, basically. And we didn't. So, we do have some small things about Solo, but not what we all really want, which is the trailer. AMC theaters have confirmed at least 3 of the planets that will factor into the Solo film. Unsurprisingly, the list of 3 is comprised of Corellia, Mimban, and Kessel. Speculation has already begun that the Corellia sequences will revolve around the Empire recruiting from the pod racers on the planet. Kessel, of course, is already famous in Star Wars lore and might be the location where Han and Chewbacca meet. Jonathan, are you in any way surprised here that these 3 planets are confirmed?
No. We pretty much knew Kessel was going to be in it from the beginning.
We did.
Corellia is Solo's home planet, so you could pretty much assume that would be in it. The only other one that is curious is the Mimban, because that's also another Imperial facility. We've seen that in some of the Lego leaks. There's been some Mimban stormtroopers and such, so you kind of figured it was going to have an appearance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tatooine makes on the list.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Fun thing, Mimban though is making an appearance in Rebels these last couple episodes. Yeah. So it's a fun little plug.
By no mistake.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely not a mistake. Rarely does Lucasfilm do something by mistake.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. It's all things that we kind of expected to see. I think we're all interested to see Corellia since we know that's where Han is from.
Yeah.
Definitely waiting to see the spice mines of Kessel.
Another interesting point I've also been wondering is if the Han funeral segment maybe takes place on Corellia.
So that was a theory that's been thrown out a couple of times that we might actually start the Solo movie with Han's funeral and then everything kind of be a flashback, kind of like the way they structured Wonder Woman, where you have it in present day and then everything goes back and you have the explanation of the story.
I mean, I would kind of dig that, but
I would too. But what's his name? Billy D. Williams has already said he's not in episode 8. Not in episode 8. I just got headlines confused. I'm real sorry.
Well, they haven't really discussed. I mean, I don't think, even if he's in Han Solo, he can't say anything.
Yeah, that's true.
If he was contractually, he would. Or I'm sure he would be not.
He's been encouraged not to say anything.
Yes.
As in threatened. Yes. I'm just kidding.
Mountains of Disney.
So speaking of that. One of our big questions for today is, will the Kessel Run be the impressive run completed in less than 12 parsecs that we've heard about? And part of the reason it's even coming up is in the novel A New Hope, The Princess, the Scoundrel, the Farm Boy, Ben Kenobi doesn't believe the claim, and Han supposedly moves on before he can, quote, be caught in a lie, is the way that it's phrased.
Right.
And so... let's be for real. Is the Kessel Run going to be as impressive in Solo as Han has always made it?
Well, that's going to be an interesting question. I think there's 2 trains of thought with it. I think some people will be irritated if you don't have him do it in that. But then, looking at Han's complete character arc, I mean, let's be honest. It's not like there weren't some embellishments along the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a good chance that it may not be quite there, but
but will they roll with that is the real question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's
my instinct right now is that they're going to keep it at the 12, mainly
probably
because
just after Last Jedi.
Yeah, like I feel like after Last Jedi, they're going to need to kind of stick with it. I think it would be kind of funny if they didn't, but this is from someone who loved The Last Jedi, so it doesn't feel slighted in any way by Lucasfilm or the Star Wars universe. So
this is the thing.
There's that.
That's a good point.
So yeah, just a thought as to
I guess we'll know
what's going
in a few months.
Supposedly. We're losing a little bit of faith here, but that's okay. And my personal favorite headline for this week is that the Chinese film market, Chinese film market tracker Gavin Fang shared via Twitter last Friday that Solo will be released in China, but will be under the title Ranger Solo.
I meant to get a graphic together and just putting Ranger above Solo.
It just makes me laugh. Fang credited the local media organization M Time for the report, and of course, this seems to be a move to distance itself from The Last Jedi, which did not perform very well in China at all.
Well, I'm sure.
How you feel about Ranger Solo?
I think they're just trying to distance themselves.
I really want to see him ride up on a horse now with cowboy boots.
Yes. Howdy, man. No, I think this is just them trying to mitigate any other future. I mean, the thing is like we've explained on this show before, but China has never been Star Wars market.
No.
It way overperformed on Force Awakens, but I think that was just because you had so much hype. The Last Jedi has made less money than Rogue One, but if you look at the trajectory, it's Force Awakens, Rogue One, and then Last Jedi is kind of an equal dip. So, everybody keeps saying it bombed in China. Well, I mean, comparatively, but the thing is it's, Transformers movies don't do well here. They do really well overseas. So, it's just one of those things that Star Wars is not in the culture as much there as it is here.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So, you'll name the movie Ranger Solo, and maybe somebody thinks it's some Chinese Western or something. I don't know. I don't even know what you would think. Maybe they think it's Power Rangers. Like maybe it's a Ranger.
Yeah, maybe. Did Power Rangers even do that well over there? I don't really think it did. Oh, listen, which is a shame. Rangers, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
The new movie, I should say.
So yeah, we haven't heard whether there will be a trailer for Solo before the Super Bowl. The last thing we heard is that there was not a spot reserved for it. But Jonathan's going to lose his mind if it doesn't happen, so there's also that.
That's very true.
So moving right along into episode 9, just 2 little stories. Gwendolyn Christie recently revealed in an interview with The Times that she hopes Phasma gets to return for episode 9. She commented, "I'm actually very invested in the character now, and that's genuine. That's not just chat. It has opened up a chain of stories and events in my mind about who Phasma is." And then in a recent interview with THR, Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Maz Kanata, was asked whether she would be reappearing in episode 9. She made a short cameo in The Last Jedi that set up Finn and Rose's side story, and she commented that she didn't know yet, but would know soon. So, Jonathan, what do you think? Do you think either of these ladies are going to be coming back for Abrams' final installation in the trilogy?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think Maz particularly has a possibility.
Right.
I mean, Maz was obviously way better utilized in Force Awakens than in Last Jedi, but there wasn't a lot of room for her.
Yeah, there
story.
wasn't. And
I think I could probably see something. Well, there's a possibility for her to have a bigger role, maybe in 9, depending on where the Resistance is and that kind of thing.
Well, I feel like she could help play a role in trying to recruit some people, depending on how far in the future it is, or having helped recruit people if it's so many years ahead.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a possibility. As far as Phasma goes, okay, let me just go ahead and say it. I love the character of Phasma herself. I read her novel. I think that she is a fascinating character. I think that Gwendolyn Christie is fantastic, and I love her.
Yeah.
But guys, I don't want to see Phasma come back.
Well, this is the
unpopular opinion. I don't want to see her come back. Would I love some redemption for that character? Yes, because I feel like she got cheated out of the trilogy. Like, well, I get it.
This is the thing. In a series in which Darth Maul is killed in the first prequel and then is still alive after being cut in half.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. She can totally be alive. Yeah.
But I think it would cheapen
what happened
in Last Jedi if she was still alive. I understand because Gwendolyn wants to come back and play the character.
And I understand why. It's a fascinating character. Yeah. Like, I'm with her on that.
But I mean, I would rather have some more Phasma related stuff in between or before or whatever, but I don't think in a film setting. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, I just really don't want that retconned. And to be honest, watching The Last Jedi for the first time, I thought, man, this is so gutsy. Johnson killed her. He killed some other people. Like, some main people that we thought were going to be pivotal in the entire trilogy. So, like, yeah. I love the shock value of that, and the way that it felt watching that. So I really don't want that to change.
No, yeah, I agree.
You guys let us know, though. You comment. Let us know. Do you want to see Phasma come back in Episode 9?
That's right. Let us know.
Yes. All right, lastly, on our miscellaneous movie news, doesn't really fit in with any of the upcoming releases that we have, but still important, is that Leland Chee, who is part of Lucasfilm Story Group, teased over Twitter that fans wouldn't believe what characters from Legends will be cropping up in various media over the coming months. It's not unusual for Lucasfilm to pull from what is considered Legends, with Grand Admiral Thrawn being a prime example, and as we've recently learned, even the inspiration for Rey and Kylo Ren. Yeah. Being a perfect example from that. So, Jonathan, where do you think we're going to see some of these Legends characters appear, and is there anyone in particular that you are just dying to see come into canon?
I don't know. I think there's probably a good chance that we'll see quite a few Legend characters in Solo. I mean, the tag and Bing thing, whatever, but there's a lot of bounty hunters you can pull from. There's a lot of, I mean, even what we think Woody Harrelson's character is going to be is kind of a Legends pool.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. Going forward, who knows? I mean, you could stuff from 9.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard some rumors about, even specific, books that they may be pulling from, and so anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I think probably first what we're going to see is something in Solo. Maybe some Rebels. Maybe the way Rebels ends.
Yeah,
could be some interesting
I was thinking
pulls.
about that too. That they
might
it's not
Legends
pop someone
necessarily,
up.
But
yeah, they might let someone kind of slip into Rebels, mainly because they've already done that once with Thrawn and with Rook, and so that's a possibility. And then let's be for real. I think one of the people in Legends that everyone wants to see kind of come in is Darth Revan.
Yeah. Oh, well, sure. Yeah.
If we could pick anyone that's not going to pop up from, current series moving forward, but people want to see, Darth Revan.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, that brings us into the small screen. Our first story actually has nothing to do with Rebels, which is what we're normally talking about, and it's that the animated television series Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures has set its home release of its second season on March 13th, 2018. The series takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and tells the story of the Freemakers, who are a family of scavengers who operate in a ship repair business. So that's fun. Didn't know anything about it, but that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And then secondly, with Rebels, one of our big questions tonight, it's returning just a couple of weeks, and the highlight of the recent trailer is the appearance of Emperor Palpatine, which leads us to our main question to speculate, and that is, does the Emperor intend for Ezra Bridger to replace Darth Vader? Is that why he is looking at Ezra? What do you think?
Well, it's one of those things with the Sith. They're kind of always looking to, or at least Palpatine.
Yeah.
Particularly Palpatine. He's always kind of looking to, bump off somebody, current apprentice, for the next one. So that's always a possibility. It's going to be interesting with the Emperor. There's really multiple places I could take him from.
Yeah.
It looks very holocron-ish to me, just in the trailer, but then in that one shot, it is very much looks like he's there. So, I don't know. It's going to be curious. I don't know how dark it's going to go. That's really my main question.
So, like, for people who haven't necessarily read some of the books in between or some of the comics, one of the things that you kind of find out about Vader and Palpatine that is kind of hinted at is that maybe their relationship is not quite as kosher as you assume that it is. Yeah. Like, whenever you're watching the original trilogy for the first time, and you begin to figure out, hey, he's dumped lots of people before and doesn't really care. And then it's come out that he didn't necessarily want to help Anakin at the end of 3, whenever he's struggling on Mustafar with all of his limbs, gone.
Yeah. Limbless.
But he had invested too much in him at that point, and that's why he ends up saving his life. And so, he's kind of always on the lookout for the next greatest thing. You find out in the novels it's also kind of his thing. That's part of the reason why he starts looking in the unknown regions and presumably how he finds Snoke. And so, I think there's a good chance that part of the reason he's looking at Ezra is that, hey, if you're powerful enough and I can sway you enough, then I'll let you supplant who I currently have. Now, obviously, if that's the case, we know how it's going to go because we know where episode 4 picks up at.
Yes, we know the Emperor isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
But another big question is if Ezra is even going to be interested in any of that, even if it happens.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be a great final few episodes of the season. By the way, our mom commented and said, no, sorry, Phasma. And I appreciate that.
Another vote on the Phasma train.
Yes, on the Phasma train. Sorry, Gwendolyn Christie. That's a no. Well, normally here we would talk about the bookshelf. But to be quite honest, I don't really have anything to add. Because I haven't really had a chance to start on a new book. Although I have 2 just sitting there waiting for me. So maybe by next week I'll have some updates on that. And there's really nothing recent as far as book releases go either. No, although there was a new comic that came out for DJ. So
we're behind.
Listen, so far. I can't even keep up all the comics, but there you go. Yeah. There's a comic on DJ for those who are interested in that character. Right. And then we do have an update, not necessarily on Galaxy's Edge completely, but related to it, and will turn into something for Galaxy's Edge. As
Galactic Nights.
Galactic Nights.
Galaxy Nights.
So Star Wars Galactic Nights is a ticketed event that's going to return to Disney's Hollywood Studios on May 27th, 2018. No tickets are on sale yet, but it's the same thing that they did back in December. Star Wars themed event. You have the projection, you have special meet and greets, you have special parades and stuff, and it's held after park hours from 7 p.m. until midnight. So something that I'm sure will become a very common occurrence once the park actually opens next year. But for now, it's just very, selective things. Notice it is coming the weekend following the release of Solo.
No mistake.
No mistakes. See? Lucasfilm, clever bunch, let me tell you.
That's right.
So with that, there was one thing of Star Wars merchandise that I did want to note because I thought it was really cool. Bottleneck Gallery has joined with Acme Archives and Lucasfilm to bring 4 new Star Wars prints by Alice X. Zhang. The prints feature portraits of Kylo Ren, Rey, Leia, and Luke, and will be available for sale only for a limited time on their site. Each portrait has a hand-numbered timed edition printed on it. The dimensions are 13 by 19 inches. You can buy the set of 4 for $190 or buy each one separately for $50. In addition, $1 from every print sold will be donated to the Alzheimer's Association. So, has a fun little cause attached to it as well. And these prints are gorgeous.
There's another one that is not on the notes, but from Bottleneck that I thought was just absolutely incredible looking.
See? I hadn't even noticed that one.
But if you check out their site, Bottleneck Gallery, they have a lot of very cool Star Wars art, and I'm already have too much of that in this room.
Yes, so, basically. We would have nowhere to put it, but...
cool stuff, nonetheless, to look at.
Yeah.
They have some stuff for Last Jedi, too, on there, so...
So those started going, the 4 that we popped up at the beginning, they started going on sale on Sunday.
Yeah.
So...
I'm sure it'll be limited, so...
I'm very sure that it is. I love the one of Rey. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, the one of Rey's great, for sure. Well, that leads us into today in Star Wars History 101. And today's a little interesting one. It is actually the Albin Johnson who created the 51st or 501st Legion, which if you're familiar with any of the Star Wars cosplay, he's the one that kind of championed all that. But that was January 31st, 97. He wears it to a Star Wars premiere, which was the special edition premieres. And all the interest and spark and all the stuff that came from that is what kind of started.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the 501st. So, that was a little cool bit of news. So, just kind of a neat little segment.
See, he covers that, so I really don't even see it until we start doing the show. And I'm like, oh, look, that's really neat. Yeah. Very cool.
Well, one little cool detail. Well, that does it for this episode of the Resistance Rundown. Thanks to all of y'all for watching. If you ever have any questions, you can always email us at theresistancerundown@gmail.com and just put TRR in the subject line, and we can know that we need to cover it here on the show.
Absolutely. You can also just comment below while the show is going on.
Obviously, always. And then if you're interested in just our regular movies reviews, you can check us out on Instagram and Twitter at ATL_movies, or visit us online at AboveTheLineMovies.com. You can also check out us on Apple News. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, just search Above the Line and we'll appear right in your feed. And lastly, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BeachJD.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MCBeach.
That's right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Until next time.
Next week.
May the Force be with you.
Always.